Good morning students, I hope you all are doing well. My name is Kanika. Today we are going to discuss software and its types. This video is for both CS and IP students of class 11. So let's begin. Software and its types, part 2. In previous tutorial, we learned about what is a software and system software and some of the system software such as operating system, system utilities and device drivers. Now, next we are going to study programming software. Now, what is a programming software? It is basically a software or a platform provided to programmers to write the programming language. And why we write a programming language? We write a programming language to give certain set of instructions to the computer. And what a certain set of instructions contribute to be? They contribute to become a software. So let us for learning programming, before learning programming software, let us understand what are the languages which are understood by computer and human beings. So as I read, as a computer understands machine language of zeros and one, whereas human understands high level human language. We humans talk in various languages, say Hindi, English, Punjabi, French, German, etc. But machines understand the language of zeros and one. So we as a human can't program or can't write our codes in 0 and 1 because it will be very complicated. We basically or most commonly used language for coding is English. So different types of computer programming languages are developed to simplify the process of coding. So two major categories of computer programming languages are low level languages and high level languages. Now what is low level languages? These are machine dependent languages, that is they are machine languages, okay, and it includes, there are basically two main types of low level languages. First is machine language and next is the assembly language. So these low level languages are languages which are understood, जो समझी जाती हैं by the computer, जो computer को समझ आती हैं, that are the low level languages. First is machine language. It uses ones and zeros to write instructions which are directly understood and executed by the computer. For a human being to write in this language, it is very difficult, and moreover, it is difficult to find error in some language because everything is in zeros and one. Next type of low level language is assembly language, which was developed that allowed usage of English like words and symbols instead of ones and zero. So the major drawback of writing a code in this language, that code is computer specific. For example, if I have a system at my home and I write an assembly language for that, okay, so that code will run only in my system and you can't run that code in any other system. So this is a major drawback as it lacks portability, as the code which you have written can only be used once and only by one machine, and it can't be used by the other machines. So it is a major drawback of assembly language, that is a code written for any one type of CPU cannot be used for another type of CPU. Next is high level language. Now high level language are machine independent. Machine independent doesn't depend on machine. If I write a code on Python, I can use it in any system or any CPU can use it. Okay. This is just an example. Okay. And are simpler to write code into it. Instructions are using English like sentences, and each high level language follow a set of rules. There are certain set of rules that you have to write this language in this manner. You just can't write computer perform 2 plus 2. No, there are proper syntax which you need to follow for every language for performing 2 plus 2. So there is a certain set of rules. These languages are not directly understood by computer, hence translators are needed. Obviously when you, if I want to communicate with a person who does not understand English and he or she only understands French, so we need a translator in between so that we both can communicate. I don't know French and that person does not know English. So we need a person in between us who knows both French and English. So similarly, there is a translator which is needed in computers, which will convert our high level language to low level language which is understood by machines or computer. So some high level languages are C++, Java, Python, etc. Then comes the language translators or the program translators. Computers can understand only machine language. Translators needed to convert program written in assembly or high level language to machine level language. So the program code written in assembly or high level language is called a source code. What a programmer writes, it is called as a source code, and the source code is converted by a translator into machine understandable language, and that is called as an object or machine code. Okay, so you can see in the diagram what happens. Code in high language, that is the source code, is written by a programmer. Then there is a language translator, and that language translator converts the code into an object code which is understood by the machine. Now there are different types of language processors or translator. First comes the compiler. Compiler converts high level code to machine code in one session. That means in one go, एक ही बारी में it converts high level language to machine code. It takes time because it have to translate high level code to low level machine code at once. So it is a time consuming ट्रांसलेटर. इट टेक्स टाइम बिकॉज उसको सब कुछ एक ही बारी में काम करना है. इतना इफ आई हैव रिटन सपोज 1000 लाइन्स ऑफ कोड, उसको सब कुछ एक बारी में करना है, सो इट विल टेक टाइम. And then save the executable code to the memory, and then it saves the code to the memory. Next type of translator or interpreter. It translates code like compiler but reads the code and immediately execute that code, and therefore it is initially faster than compiler. Compiler reads the code and immediately executes it. That means it reads the code line by line. It does not execute the code in one go. It एक एक लाइन करके वो पढ़ता है, एक एक लाइन करके वो एग्जीक्यूट करता जाता है. So that is why it is faster than compiler. Next comes the assembler. Now it translates assembly language program into machine. So when I am using an assembly language, so then assemblers are used to convert them into machine language. Each assembler can understand a specific microprocessor instruction set only, and hence the machine code is not portable. Only, as I told you earlier, assembly language if written for one machine can be run on that particular machine only. So this is very important. It is asked in exam a lot. So you must know what is the difference between compiler and interpreter. So first is compiler scans the whole program in one go. एक ही बार में पूरा प्रोग्राम को स्कैन करता है. Whereas interpreter translate program one statement at a time. The error if any are shown at the end. कोई भी error होगी वो, अगर मैं if my code is of 1000 lines and there are 10 errors and there is an suppose मेरा 1000 लाइन का कोड है और मेरे सेकंड कोड लाइन ऑफ कोड में ही एरर है, तो वो वहीं पे नहीं बताएगा, वो पूरी 100 लाइन ऑफ कोड को एग्जीक्यूट करेगा और फिर मुझे बताएगा कि आपके इस कोड के सेकंड लाइन में प्रॉब्लम थी. वेयर एज इंटरप्रेटर शोज द एरर लाइन बाय लाइन. इंटरप्रेटर क्या करेगा, अगर मेरा 100 लाइन का कोड है और मेरी सेकंड लाइन में ही अगर कोई एरर है तो वो वहीं पे उसको बता देगा कि योर सेकंड लाइन हैज सम एरर, और वो उसके आगे की 98 लाइन्स को कंपाइल नहीं कर इंटरप्रेट नहीं करेगा, वो वहीं पर छोड़ देगा कि पहले इस एरर को ठीक करो फिर मैं आगे की कोड को एग्जीक्यूट या इंटरप्रेट करूंगा. मेन एडवांटेज ऑफ कंपाइलर इट्स एग्जीक्यूशन टाइम. Due to interpreters being slow in executing the object code, it is preferred less. Why it is preferred less? Because it takes much time. It totally depends on the type of code which you are writing. Okay, it converts the instruction into a systematic code. It doesn't convert the instruction. Instead, it directly works on the source language. Compiler, what it does, compiler एक अलग तरीके से उसको कोड में एक अलग तरीके से एक मिडिल वे में कन्वर्ट कर देता है. बट इंटरप्रेटर सोर्स कोड पे ही, सोर्स लैंग्वेज आपका जो सोर्स कोड है उस पे ही काम करता है, एंड इट डज नॉट कन्वर्ट इंस्ट्रक्शन इनटू एनी काइंड ऑफ सिस्टमैटिक कोड. जैसा है वैसे इट विल रन. So these are some certain examples of compiler, C++, and interpreter, Python, Ruby, Perl, MATLAB, etc. Then there come programming development tools. Whenever we decide to write a program, we need a text editor. An editor is a software that allows us to create a text file where we type instruction and store the file as the source code. So obviously अगर आप प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज यूज कर रहे हो तो आपको कोई ना कोई एक टूल चाहिए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल पाइथन के यू नीड अ पाइथन IDE. So basically you need a software for writing your code. So then an appropriate translator used to get the object code for execution. In order to simplify the program development, there are software called integrated development environment consisting of text editor, building tools, debugger, etc. So there are specialized tools, or you can say specialized software for different languages which provide you certain functions regarding to that language. Okay, so that are called as integrated development environment. You can also code in different way, in directly in your command prompt or just in a notepad without these development tools, but these development tools provide you with additional functionality. अगर आपको उसमें debugging करनी है, कोई predefined function use करना है, तो that is all provided by these predefined IDEs. Program can be typed, compiled and debugged. Debug means finding out any errors in your program. Beside Python, IDLE, NetBeans, Eclipse, Atom, Lazarus are few other examples of IDEs. Debugger, as the name implies, is software to detect and characters in the source code. अगर आपके कोड में कोई भी तरीके की प्रॉब्लम एरर है, that is being identified by debugger. Next comes the application software. It handles specialized common tasks as a user wants to perform. Specialized tasks such as banking, hotel management, etc. So there are basically two types of application software. First are journal. Second is specific. Journal means they are ready to use software for daily purposes, right? If I want to make a document, मैं सीधा सा word MS Word खोल के अपना document write कर सकती हूँ. But for specific person, for example, if I have opened a new shop, right, and I want to maintain my what you say that maintain my accounts and जितना profit हुआ जितना loss हुआ मुझे पूरा अपना diary maintain करना है, so I will need a different payroll system for that. So there are specific person जो एक specific purpose के लिए ही design करे जा सकते हैं. For example, your schools have different softwares for managing their fees, for designing timetables and whatnot. So they are specific purpose and general purpose which anyone can use easily. So certain types, we will first be discussing some general purpose application software. First are word processing packages. They are basically used to type, view, edit, manipulate, store and retrieve text material. Okay, so you have various, like notepad can be used, word processor, LibreOffice and many such word processors are available. So we can create well formatted document. They may contain text and even some graphics. You can obviously add some images. You can create letters or statements and etc. with these word processor. Next are electronic spreadsheets. Spreadsheet basically, best example is MS Excel, which you must have used in your junior classes. So it is a software tool for manipulating data in a tabular form. अगर मुझे कोई भी अपना data in a tabular form I have to relate or I have to save, then I can use spreadsheets. It is in the form of grids of rows and columns. The rows and columns are intersection of rows and columns is called as cell, and in a spreadsheet cell, text, numbers or formulas can be entered. Any formula entered is automatically evaluated and displayed by the program. So you can also use it for some kind of calculations by using the predefined formulas. Next is graphic and multimedia packages. These are packages which provide creating and manipulating images using a computer. Drawing, graphics, pictures, etc. can be done by using these software. Adobe Photoshop or Paint Shop Pro, ULEAD, Photo Impact, etc. Some are the popular image editing software. Next is database management. Database management, if I have a large amount of data, for example, if I want to maintain the data of all the students of your school, so I will need a database management system. A software used to manipulate large volumes of data stored in well-organized manner. A database is a repository of related collection of data. For example, a company database might contain information about customer, supplier, employees, sales and inventory. For example, if we talk about school, it will have information about students, teachers, and how their subjects are related to each other, what subject is related to which teacher, their roll numbers, house numbers and whatnot. So this is what database are supposed to do. Then we have desktop publishing packages. These are basically predefined packages which can be professionally used for creating professional quality document and publication. For example, if I want to publish any of my book or I want to publish any research article, so these predefined desktop publications can be used. Some examples are Elders PageMaker, CorelDRAW, Microsoft Publisher, Indian multilingual packages, and these are certain more examples of desktop publication packages. Then there comes specific purpose application software which are specially designed for a particular purpose. For example, medical store management, hospital management, library management, airline, stock and all these are specially, different companies have special software designed for themselves. Then the fourth one comes the utility software that basically utility software assist OS in carrying out certain specialized tasks. Okay, so for example, antivirus scans the system. Antivirus, it scans the system from any kind of threat of virus, and it also delete or isolate our data. Delete the virus and isolate our data. Next is compression tool. Compression tools are utilities that assist operating system in shortening file so that they can take less space. Compressing, for example, you have zip. So what does zip do? It compresses the size of your file. Then disk cleaner, for example, clean disk security and all the software which help in clearing the cache of our computers. Next is disk fragmenter. Disk fragmenter is basically utility that increase file access speed by rearranging fragments. Fragments basically that you see local disk C, D, E, these are fragments which can be made by disk defragmenter. Then their backup utilities are provided where you can back up your data and databases. Then file management tools, software providing regular file management tasks like browse, search, update, preview, etc. All these are provided by file management tools. And restore, that is if you have lost your data, so you can restore your data from the backup. Next comes the proprietary of free and open sources. Now these are certain types of software. The developers, what happens, the developers of some application software provide their source code as well as software. They provide the source code as well as software freely for the public. And why they do so? With an aim to develop and improve further with each other help. So what they do, वो अपना सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोवाइड करते हैं सोर्स कोड. सोर्स कोड जो उनका कोडिंग उन्होंने करा होता है, दैट दे ऑल्सो प्रोवाइड टू द यूजर so that उसमें किसी तरीके किसी को कोई improvement करना हो, they can openly do that. And it's not like anyone can do that improvement. You must have knowledge about doing that improvement. So they are called as free and open source software. Example are Ubuntu is one of such example, and you can also say Python, LibreOffice, all these are example of free and open source software. Next are freeware software. Now freeware software are freely available for use, but they do not provide the source code. You can freely use them, but you cannot see their source code. Example are Skype and Adobe Reader. Then there are software which you need to purchase from the vendor who has copyright of the software. Copyright means they have patent for that. Basically you can't use that software without the permission of the owner by paying them certain amount. So those are called as pro-priority software, and Windows, Tally, Quick Heal are certain examples of pro-priority or free and open source software. So if I categorize all these software, this is how it will look like in a diagram. So there is a user interface which is provided by an operating system. Then there comes application software and programming tools. Okay, so application software, we have discussed all the software programming tools, and in that system software we have system utilities, operating system device drivers, and then how you can access the hardware. And alongside we can also use free and open source software and pro-priority of freeware. So this is how, if we categorize or put all the softwares in a diagram, this is how they are layered into one and other. So this was all about software and its types. I hope you have understood it. I have made the entire presentation based on your NCERT book. So please read this topic from your book. It is from chapter 1, subtopic 1.7 software. Do give it a read. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask me. You can write your doubts in the comment box below, and that doubts will be discussed in doubt session in the coming week. Thank you.